Okay, in the last hour or so, Great Britain have beaten France at the double IIHF World Championships in Slovakia. They came from 3-0 down, in which to obtain the win in overtime. And I've watched a couple of Great Britain's games. I watched the game against Germany and the game against the USA. And while we lost 3-1 against Germany and 6-3 against the USA, we played pretty well. The other games, it hasn't been so good. I think the defeat against Denmark was, I think, the lowest point, losing 9-0, and losing 8-0 against Canada. I think it was pretty tough to take, as well as not registering a goal. But I watched the game against Finland, and while the Finns won, we did not play badly at all. We really were dogged in that respect. But this win against France is big, because it's the first win I think Great Britain have had at the World Championships since the 60s. The last time we were at the World Championships was 25 years ago at the top level in 1994, and our last game was actually against Austria. And it's been a long time out of the top flight. So to beat the French, relegate the French as well, which is always tasty to beat the French, and to do it coming from behind, 3-0 down, and to win 4-3 in overtime. Yeah, Great Britain does this a lot. We did this against Hungary last year in the Group 1A. We had to go and do it in the last game to ensure our promotion. And of course, they've gone and done it again to ensure that we do not get relegated. So if you are a British hockey fan, yeah, a lot of British hockey fans have probably had heart palpitations. And one thing I have noticed about Great Britain is our second periods, we have conceded the most goals. That's, I think, Great Britain's weakness, is that second period of play. Because against Germany, it was 1-1. We end up losing 3-1. The US, they got some goals in that second period, and we end up losing 6-3. If we don't concede those goals in the second period against the Germans and the second period against the US, those results look different. And the way that we lost those big losses, again, were in the second period, early on in the second period as well of play. That is where Great Britain's weakness is that second period. That's been the weakness throughout the tournament. But the fact that we have come from behind and beaten the French and secured our place at the top table for another year, in this next year it's going to be in Switzerland, that's kind of fun. That means I actually have an opportunity possibly to go next year and go for a week to Switzerland to watch some of the games, and it's a positive for the sport in this country, considering that the Basingstoke rink is in disrepair. We've lost the rink on the Isle of Wight that's been closed in a state of disrepair. The fact that several teams are having to crowdfund this year for survival in the lower levels. There's concern about Milton Keynes Lightning and their rink time going forward, and where they're going to be, how many games they can actually play in Milton Keynes, or what the rink time is going to be. There's a lot of negatives. But there's also a lot of positives. We've got a new team in Leeds that plays their first game this year. The Elite League wants to keep growing. It's shrunk, obviously, with Milton Keynes Lightning dropping out and the Edinburgh Capitals going out of business, but the Elite League wants to keep growing. There's a reformatted second-tier National League with a new team in Leeds joining. There are teams in that second tier, like Hull, who want to go to the Elite League. There are other teams that I think at some point within the next couple of years also want to make that step up to the Elite League. And as a Bracknell Bees fan, it was nice to see us actually win a playoff game for the first time in 5 years this year. So, there are positives to look at, and the sport is growing massively in the UK, and this has got to help. This has got to help that growth. But hopefully that growth can be sustained, and next year the same thing happens where we remain at the top table, because the longer we remain at the top of the game, the more of our players get scouted by the big leagues in North America. And it's not just Liam Kirk that gets drafted, it's a whole host of players can get looked at, sign as free agents, get drafted and play in North America. I think that's ultimately where the sport is going to improve and how we're going to get better. But thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Place your comments below, and I'll have some more videos for you very, very soon.